The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, the branded athlete, featuring in-depth interviews with and commentary on today's biggest and most successful athletes. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, the branded athlete.
What's up? This is the Branded Athlete. You are actually tuning in to a special edition of the Branded Athlete. I know you're used to seeing us on Friday, but because you know this was such a great week in sports, we decided to do a Monday show for you guys as well. So as we groove into this lovely background music here, that I have no idea who...
Kevin said it was ratchet.
Okay, well it definitely doesn't sound classical.
This is not ratchet.
This is classy music. This is what a classic man would listen to.
Okay, if a man picked you up to go on a date and he had this song playing, what would you think?
Hey!
That explains the kind of guys you date. Hey! Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Kevin John, and as you see, I am joined with two lovely people that always keep it entertaining here, never cease to amaze me. First host right over here to the left is the beautiful Miss Brittany Johnson.
What's up, guys? I've missed you.
I missed you too, Brittany. I missed you too. You know, what have you been doing since you've seen us? I know you've been busy.
I've just been really busy. Haven't slept much. Been trying to work out.
Okay, well,
These guns going, you know.
I see. They're definitely coming in, and
They're bigger than yours.
Well, anyone's bigger than mine.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
That is a fact. But somebody who does have big guns and cleavage and a chest waiting to pop out.
He just flexed when I did that.
He had to flex it a little bit. But anyways, that handsome guy over there with a great suit on is the one, the only Ben Bateman.
What's up, guys? How's it going? I'm happy to be here. Very happy to be back.
We're happy to have you back too, Ben. Now, Ben was out of town this week, and he was up in Seattle with
No, Santa Barbara.
I knew it started with an S.
Yes.
And
Close, very close.
Good deal. Now, you know, I was gone this weekend as well, and I wanted to bring something back for one of our co-hosts here. And she probably already has this because she already has everything. But I was at an event this past weekend for journalists and things of that sort. And I saw this on my table. And the first thing I thought was Brittany. So I'm going to pass this over to Brittany. And it is, I ripped it on the plane. Forgive me. That was in my suitcase. In the suitcase.
What are you doing with this magazine?
I know, right? Anyways.
Odell.
It is a picture of Brittany's boo, Odell Beckham Jr.
Is he your boo, Britt?
Her boo to be. Boo to be.
Boo to be.
All right, well, we got a great show to be here.
Well, I'm going to have to go. I'll see you guys.
Well,
Thanks, Kevin, for
absolutely.
the ripped magazine that you probably found in the bathroom. Thank you.
You know what? Hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah.
All right, well, speaking of treasure.
Speaking of treasure.
A
A section we treasure here on the Brand Athlete is Brittany's section.
Take it away. Ben, I love your segue. That was like tag team there, man.
That's great.
So yes, like Ben said, we start off every show with something we call Brittany Used Some Random Thought, is where she shares something fun and insightful, and it's unpredictable, so we don't know what it's going to be.
It's random.
Yeah.
It is random, but this weekend, you know, it was the Football Hall of Fame, which everybody, I'm sure, kind of watched. You probably didn't watch it. You probably just got highlights of it. But you know what I was thinking about when I was watching it? Why is it in Canton, Ohio? Interesting, right?
And then you looked it up.
And so then I looked it up, right? So between 1921 and 1923, there was a team called the Canton Bulldogs that were a part of the NFL, and they went 25 straight games without losses. So it was 22 wins and 3 ties. And actually, still to this day, that is the longest consecutive win streak of any NFL team. So that's why it's in Canton, because back in the day, they were a huge, big team. And actually, what's his name? Jim?
Jim Thorpe.
Yes. He actually played on the Canton Bulldogs back in the day.
Well, he was a beast.
Yeah, he played on the Canton Bulldogs, and they won 2 NFL championships, and they had 25 consecutive non-losing games. So I say non-losing, not winning, because three of them were ties. And that's still...
I don't know if those count as wins. I do not know if those
well,
are
they do.
You can still
they do
tie in
enough
today's
to
NFL.
wear the Hall of Fame.
You can, but if you tie in today's in today's NFL, it doesn't count as a win column. It just goes in the tie column.
Well, I know, but don't you remember like 2 years
but
ago?
But it's not a loss. It doesn't count as a loss. So that's why I said
That's
25
consecutive
non-losing games.
You're right.
And, the NFL just thought they were the greatest team ever. They're basically like, what Ben thinks is the Patriots now or whatever. And they were like, oh my gosh, that's where we should have the Hall of Fame is in Canton because of the Canton Bulldogs. And still to this day, nobody's broken that record, and the Hall of Fame is in Canton.
I take a quarrel with one of your facts there. The Seahawks are the greatest team, but we can keep going.
Okay, whatever.
But
that wasn't a fact. That was a Ben thing. Okay.
That was a Ben thing. But, luckily, Ben, we're going to let you do your thing here because we're going to move right along to another one of our segments.
This is an exciting one. This is a really exciting one. This we do every week.
Wow, Ben just woke up over there.
What is in your drink?
I know. Did you see that? This is exciting one.
So we do a thing every week called What Would It Take, guys? And the point of this is we suggest something that seems totally outlandish, something that probably would never happen, but we ask the question of what would it take to see this happen? And we all know the dog days of sports are July and August. It's when all we have is baseball and all the sports that no one cares about.
Golf.
Oh, so every 2 years you have the Olympics, or every 2 years the World Cup. Some of those Summer Olympics.
I'm more joking about it. I mean, people care about golf. People care about NASCAR.
Tennis.
I mean, I watch some of these things, but really compared to the two major American sports, you don't have those. So it gets a little slow. We hear a lot of storylines about fights in training camp and contract holdouts and whatnot. Yeah.
I'm watching you.
So the question I have is, what would it take for July and August to be the two most exciting months in professional sports?
Most exciting or more exciting?
The most exciting.
I have the perfect, answer for that.
Okay.
First of all, instead of starting a football season in September in the fall, you would start it right after winter break. So January. You start football in January.
Okay.
But football's still going on in January.
Yeah, well, I know it's still going on.
You're
but
changing it.
But
You're changing the whole season.
Follow me now.
You're changing
Follow
the
me
whole
now.
season.
Use your
Okay.
words.
I'm gonna bring it around. So instead of starting week 1 in the first week of September, which I believe it is, or second week of September, I think is when they start.
Week,
Put week 1, start it actually late January.
Okay.
So therefore, now you keep basketball the same, you keep MLB the same. But what you do is you start football later on, like January, early February. So therefore, it extends pretty much throughout the summer. And in July and August will be crunch time of the season when they start playing for the playoffs and everything starts to matter. And then also around that time, it's not like you can't play games outside, because when you play games outside during the winter, they get snowed in. You saw what happened to the Metrodome. In Green Bay, it's like negative 180. They're getting the hypothermia. So doing it this way as well would also provide better weather. And also, people travel a lot during the summer. A lot of people have the summers off, so they can attend more games, and it actually could be more beneficial and monetary for the NFL.
That's wrong. I absolutely disagree with you.
So your
Kevin.
suggestion is that having essentially the stretch run of the NFL season and the playoffs during the summer would be beneficial, but then you're stretching it so there's another part of the year that gets sparse, right?
No, because with basketball will still start. But basketball will start maybe a couple of months or a few months after football would end in late summer. So then when basketball starts, obviously that will take you through into May, June.
It's a bad idea.
All right.
That's all I have
Hey,
to
it's
say.
an outlandish question.
You're talking about
What do
people it's too cold. Hello, are they going to die of like dehydration and being too hot in the summertime? That doesn't even make sense.
But they're playing in
Certain
Phoenix,
places,
maybe.
And in Miami and in Atlanta and in New York, there's so many places that get so hot. Like just because you live in California and it's 75 degrees in the summertime, it's 102 everywhere else.
Well, guess what?
That doesn't make sense because it's an outside sport. So I suggest
It's your turn.
that. Thank you. I suggest that all we have to do is push baseball back a little bit, so then we'd be instead of their playoffs being like September, October, their playoffs would be in those months of July and August, because people do care about baseball.
You mean move baseball up a little bit to start early?
Like start in January instead of like the end of March.
So you're saying
So basically, you have the same
August.
plan, and essentially you have the same plan as me, except instead of starting football in July,
Yeah, it
February,
doesn't
you
make
want to
sense
start
for football.
MLB.
It makes more sense for baseball because
Brittany,
football is going on, and then basketball starts towards the end, and then you have basketball continue. But I'm talking about the playoffs of it, to have the playoffs go in, what is it called, July, August, would be great for baseball, because people really do get involved in baseball playoffs. Have baseball playoffs, and you can have hockey playoffs during that time, and that stuff will give us enough attention. And it's stuff to where It's not going to be overly too crazy hot for baseball people to be outside. They're usually outside in the summer anyway. And you could have hockey out there during that time.
I'm going to completely counter what you just said. What's the difference from playing football outside when it's hot and baseball
when you're
outside
playing
when it's
baseball,
hot?
you're
It's the
standing
same damn
around.
thing.
You're standing around and kicking flies for 3 hours.
Okay, in football, you play offense and then you play defense.
Baseball is already in the summertime. It's just regular season in the summertime. So it's not going to change for them. They're still in the season during the summertime. So clearly they're used to that.
This is a fiery one. I've never seen you guys get so invested in a hypothetical scenario before. Usually I'm the only one that's actually honestly answering the question. This is great.
It's fun, yeah.
This is always how I envision this to go. So my answer, guys, I go a little crazier than this. I'm going to jump on what Brittany said. I just don't think that baseball playoffs are actually exciting enough to make the summer exciting if that was all we got.
I said hockey too.
Yeah, no, but hang on. So I'm going to go with half your idea. I like your idea where you get baseball playoffs during those summer months, but at the same time, I want each of the 4 major American sport companies to take their players' associations and their owners and throw something ridiculous. Like, each league puts like $100 million once a year towards essentially like an Ultimate Ninja Warrior contest of the world's best athletes. So no, we've talked about this before.
I was listening to you the first couple minutes. You just got crazy here.
I look, I call it that because there's a TV show called that, but it's what we've talked about. It's essentially what the decathlon was, right? It's a measure of the best athletes in the world.
Those guys,
but that's something else.
During that time, that
but
doesn't
I'm saying,
make any sense.
No, it does because they're able to do what they want to do. Look, if LeBron James could stand to win...
No team... They just paid Des Bryant like $80 million. You think they're going to be like, hey, you want to go play in this little decathlon thing over the summer and get injured so then we don't have you next season?
Brittany, I'm trying to say, you don't make it... If it was a little thing, then no one would do it. If you're like, if you win $100 million and you get that money from the major... That's
what I'm saying. There would have to be some major incentive.
Huge incentive.
In order for all the 4 sports to agree.
Yeah, but the team is... That player might want to do it. That team is not going to let those players do that.
Well, if this is a thing that's coming 5 years down the line and when those players sign those contracts, they're going to say, you know what? I'll sign this contract, but I want to be able to participate in the Ultimate Ninja Warrior contest where I can win $100 million.
It's kind of like if
I'm betting on myself and my athleticism.
That's like one day or a week long event.
I think it would be like
that's
a
not
4
going
week
to
long
change.
event.
Because you have to train. It's kind of equivalent to the Olympics or summer basketball for the USA team. Obviously, they have clauses in their contract which provide them, which allows them to play in the summer league or for the USA team, or obviously around the Olympics, which is the same thing. The USA team, they can still go out and do that throughout the summer.
Wouldn't you guys be fascinated to watch like LeBron James face off against Calvin Johnson against like you were saying Bolt, like just to see who is the most incredible?
I would like
athlete?
to see LeBron James against Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, but then like the same athletes are going to just keep doing it every single year.
Maybe, or maybe they do it one year and then they don't do it the next year. It's optional, but if you put enough money on the table, a lot of the world's best athletes would do it, and I think it would be friggin' fascinating. Instead of the Olympics where you're watching a bunch of people whose names we mostly don't know, you'd be watching your favorite players from your favorite sports compete. And it'd be things like running the 40, things like vertical, things like maybe there'd be, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. Box jumps, like maybe...
So like a decathlete.
Yeah, really.
But anyways, the only thing that I really take from all of that I actually can't agree with you on is money. Okay, obviously we know that money pretty much generates and dictates everything in the world of sports internationally. But I think it would be highly unlikely that something like that would be able to actually be facilitated.
Well, probably not.
And for people to,
that's why it's
because there's just too much of a risk factor. What if you get injured?
Training camp is in like July and August. That just doesn't make any sense.
You'd have to do it earlier, and it would be optional. But
but we're talking about July, August months to be the most exciting.
So you do a 4-week thing in July, and then August. Look, okay.
So they're going to change the whole training camp because they might have one athlete in the NFL competing.
Viewers, let us know which one of our ideas.
Bad idea.
Which one of our ideas do you think is the more realistic? Okay, my idea of starting the NFL later January, February, having that go into the summer. Brittany's idea of starting the MLB earlier to have the playoffs go around June, July in hockey, or Ben's idea of this outlandish rubbish. Whatever. American Ninja Warrior. You guys let us know what you think, because as you can tell, this is a conversation that can continue going on, but we don't have time for it to do that, because we got to get into the next part of it. But very good question. We'll come back to that and then some next time around. Now, obviously, this past week in sports has been huge, even though it is the middle of August.
Always storylines.
There's always storylines. And this week was no different. So we're going to start off with one of the hot topics from this particular week. On Saturday was the NFL Hall of Fame ceremony, when there were 8 inductees that actually got, that were initiated or inducted into the Hall of Fame. All of them go real quick. Junior Seau, Jerome Bettis, Charles Haley, Tim Brown, Will Shields, Mick Tingelhoff, Ron Wolf, and Bill Polian. were all inducted to the Hall of Fame on Saturday, and it was just an incredible moment because, one of the things, and I want to know your guys' reactions, but, one of the things that about the NFL Hall of Fame that I noticed, it's unlike other, well, I guess you could say baseball, but it really takes players a long time to get in.
Oh, yeah.
There's very few just first ballot, no-brainers that go in there. Obviously, Tom Brady will be one, Peyton Manning, but, a lot of these players that I was looking at, like Tim Brown was a shock to me. One of the most prolific receivers, in his era, behind Jerry, of course.
Sure.
But, one of the things that really stuck out to me about this is how long some of these guys waited. I think Junior Seau was the only one that went in on his...
and Bettis. Wasn't Bettis first ballot?
No, Bettis retired back in... Let's see here. I actually got that. He retired back in 2005.
Yeah,
so
this would...
05 was his last season.
Well, 05 was his last season, exactly. So technically 06. So, but anyways, what was your guys' reactions to?
Well, I think it's interesting what you said there about it takes so long because first of all, there's 53 guys on a roster. So compared to even baseball, it's totally different. You don't have there's so many guys, and the most visible positions, obviously, like quarterback, you're gonna get in faster. But you saw what happened when like Fran Tarkenton was up there and his center Tingeloff, right?
Yeah.
And he got really emotional, saying it took him 37 years to get into the Hall of Fame, and he was like a 10-time Pro Bowler or something like that. He was basically the best center of his era, and it took him 37 years to get in the Hall of Fame.
37 years.
He played in 4 Super Bowls. I mean. And it's not because he wasn't qualified. It's just that center as a position is not going to really get the publicity that running back or wide receiver or linebacker or quarterback's going to get. You're not making the big plays that actually pop out on TV. So it is a little sad. You're going to see a lot of the great. And as every year we get more people playing football, and the stock just gets more and more difficult for those older players because there's 53 guys on a roster every year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
I 100% agree. And to piggyback off of that, when Emmitt Smith was giving his speech a few years ago when he was inducted, one of the things that I really liked, and this actually brought Emmitt to tears, but the unsung, the person that never got recognition was Daryl Johnston, his fullback, number 48, I think it was, and he was one of the greatest blockers of all time. Every hole that Emmitt went through was because of Daryl. And I remember when Emmitt accepted that award, he said, "Daryl, you're never going to get enough credit for this, but the reason why I'm standing here," and he said it in tears too, he's like, "The reason I'm standing here is because of you. You sacrificed for me, you put your body in front of me, in front of others, and I'm here because of you." So to piggyback off of what you said, you got to realize these centers, these fullbacks, these less glorified positions, are the reason why some of these more visible positions can excel. Brittany.
Well, I was really kind of upset by this year's because of the whole Junior Seau thing. And, before he passed away, he had wrote that he wanted his daughter to basically deliver his speech for him. And, the NFL has like a 5-year rule that they don't allow people to talk for deceased players. But I actually ended up watching her speech. They had it on New York Times. They had like on their website, they like put it on there. And it brought me to tears. I was crying, and I really wish that they would have allowed her to speak on that. I think the NFL kind of failed us there by not letting her talk. So.
Yeah. Sometimes you just wish they can make an exception, and I think
change that rule.
Or change, what would it take?
No. Yeah, especially if Junior literally specifically wrote out that he wanted her to say his speech, after his passing.
Right.
So that was clearly the wishes of him, and I remember at the end of her speech she said, "I think the reason why my dad chose me to speak is because I didn't know his football career like that. I don't know the stats and all this kind of stuff. I was a young girl, but I knew his heart, and that's the whole reason why he played, and the whole reason why he was as good as he was, because he did everything with his heart, and I knew his heart side. So that's why I'm able to speak on him, And it just brought tears to my eyes.
So there was.
Yeah, and I'm glad she still did get a chance to speak as well, to say something. Real quick, omitted off of this, who were eligible, and these players were left off, were Kurt Warner, former Super Bowl MVP, Marvin Harrison, probably one of the best receivers of all time. He still, I think, has a single season reception record, 148.
Something like that.
That 1 year with the Colts, and Orlando Pace, who was one of the greatest linemen that we ever know. So it's funny, the three of them, who I think are all phenomenal players and could have potentially been first ballot, didn't make it.
I actually have a question for you guys. Now, next season is going to be Terrell Owens, who is actually on our show before. It's going to be his first year to be able to be eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. Do you guys think he's going to be a first ballot selection?
Oh, I think unequivocally. And the reason I say that is because when you look at his, there's a lot of things you look at to determine a player's Hall of Fame worth. But when you look at his stats, there's no denying. I mean, what is he like? I think second as far as
Jerry Rice,
second to Jerry Rice in pretty much every stat as far as reception, touchdowns, yardage.
It's like him, Jerry, and Randy are like the three.
Him, Jerry, and Randy, exactly. And the only thing that's going to hurt Terrell is the obvious, which is his character, his antics, and things of that. And sometimes voters may feel a little reserved to vote for him because of that.
Don't you think that that's kind of like, doesn't make any sense at all? Because if you want to go into that, like, I mean, Terrell's never been arrested. He's never had any domestic issues with people or whatever. But it's maybe like, the locker room kind of stuff. But then if you want to go back into people's character, there's a lot of people on that Hall of Fame list that have, I mean, I love Michael Irvin, but he's had a lot of stuff off the field.
He's in love with the cocoa.
You know what I mean? And so
Chris Carter had issues.
Yeah, there's tons of players. So if you want to start bringing, like, I think the Hall of Fame should be on your pure stats and he played at a prime level for like 13, 14 years.
Absolutely.
Terrell, I think.
Until his mid-30s.
Yeah,
really.
like at a top level.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like not, he was drifting away. No, for like 13, 14 years, he was a consistent wide receiver. And I don't think that we should I don't think that he should be like talked about for his character on a Hall of Fame level.
He'll make
at
it.
all.
We got to move on to the next point, but Ben, what do you want to say about it?
He'll make it. He was a complete gentleman when he was in here. I mean, he was like, you could see how. I think you could see
he has a good heart. It
exactly.
just comes off wrong.
And I didn't get the sense from when he was talking to us that in any way I was like, I can see if you're a competitive guy. I can see if you got agitated, you'd piss people off. But that's different than the kind of stuff that you shouldn't be kept out of the Hall of Fame for. Or people would maybe. I don't think it would be right for people to try to keep him out of the Hall of Fame. Maybe they don't want him in their locker room because they think that their team won't win because he's like locker room death or whatever.
He's a cancer to the team,
But you can't argue with the statistics. I mean, he played in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
And also...
like six-time Pro Bowler, so,
he's a beast. And also, someone else will be eligible next year is the one, the only, the Iron Man, Brett Favre. So hopefully we'll see him.
I can't wait for his speech.
Oh, yeah. 297 straight games. Give that man in already. All right. So from one great quarterback to some other up-and-coming quarterbacks here, Ohio State football has pretty much been the center of a media frenzy this offseason, actually ever since they won the national title, because of the simple fact they have not one, not two, but three starting quarterbacks who are all playing at the top level. Now, it's been very interesting because Urban Meyer has been trying to dodge bullets and dodge the story pretty much the last 4 months on who he was going to name as a starter. As of recently, and pretty much the candidates are Cardale Jones, J.T. Barrett, and Braxton Miller. But as of recently, one candidate took himself out the ring and said, I'm going to switch positions.
Which was the smartest thing he could have done.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's just go off of that before we get into QB, the quarterback battle. As far as Braxton Miller deciding to go to wide receiver, what exactly does that mean for the
It means more visibility for a great athlete. It's somebody who realizes that, invariably there's all kinds of things that are going to happen that are going to prevent him from starting in that quarterback position. It's possible he could be the guy, but it's also possible that game to game there could be any kind of controversy all season. He puts himself in a much better position for national visibility with like a draft coming up to play wide receiver and excel there than he would playing quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, just like one of their former Ohio State Buckeyes Pryor, he switched to wide receiver as well, and now is playing for the Browns. So I think it's a good idea. I mean, you just don't even want the competition, not even necessarily the competition of trying to be like a quarterback, but even he said he was like, he's the last 6 months he's been rehabbing, practicing, all this kind of stuff as a quarterback, and he's like, I just feel like I don't know if I can make it through a full season.
Yeah.
Why risk it? He has more chance of not being injured as a wide receiver than he does as a quarterback.
Yeah, it's true, because he's not 100% healthy either.
Right.
So
pretty excited for that Pryor position switch. I'm pretty excied for that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, they said at Cleveland they had record people there for the first day of practice, and it wasn't to see Manziel.
No.
It was to see Pryor make that switch to wide receiver.
A ridiculous athlete. He's like 6'5", 250, and runs like a 4.4 or something like that.
Insane. And they said he looked good, so we'll see what goes on. But anyways, that pretty much leaves, by Braxton taking his hat out the ring, that just leaves two people: Cardale Jones, the redshirt sophomore last year, who ended up starting the last 3 games and took him to a national championship, and J.T. Barrett, the pretty much presumptive Big Ten Player of the Year until he got hurt. And Cardale had to replace him. So, it's funny. I was reading an article today that said is the quarterback who got to do first team reps, they flipped the coin to see who would do it. Now, do you guys think that on the day of, if Urban Meyer can't figure this out, it's going to be a flip a coin situation?
I mean, I think this is a good situation to be in if you're a coach. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you're picking between the best of the best. And Cardell, I can't say that he's proven himself because he just played a couple games, you know? Like, the reason why they even made it to that point was because JT took them 11-1 last season.
Yeah.
And he actually broke the record last season for Ohio State single season total offensive yards. You know what I mean? So I think JT is a more consistent player from what we see, what we know right now. You know, Cardell, he had a good, coming off high energy, just like when Tim Tebow had those 5 or 6 games when he was really good. That doesn't mean that he's longevity-wise, he's going to be a great quarterback. But, I mean, it's a good, I mean, either or, I think they're going to do good. And if one starts messing up, that's fire under their butt because there's another quarterback that can replace them that is just as good, if not better. So
Exactly. Ben, your thoughts?
They definitely play with different styles, and you know, we spoke with Cardell a few weeks ago at that ESPN event, and I asked him what he sort of thought the future of the quarterback position looked like in college, because he's a really big,
He's
very
huge.
physical
He's
guy,
huge.
and you watch
Yeah.
him play, and it kind of looks like he just barrels over people. And you know, he gave kind of a
Kind
stock
of reminds me of
answer.
Jamarcus Russell a little bit.
I was just gonna say.
Ooh.
So he,
I know,
Not
it's
a good comparison.
Not a good comparison, I know.
But for
I mean,
college,
college, he
for-
was great at LSU.
So I would think that what's going to probably happen is I think Urban Meyer probably will see that he has, because they're physically their skill sets are different. So he'll probably look and say, okay, for certain matchups, I don't think he's going to switch him out, but I think he's going to keep in mind all year, if Cardell's starting, I can switch. You know, I can switch if we want a different game plan or vice versa. And you know, I think that's, like you said, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a wonderful problem to have. So we'll end up seeing what happens. But I still think Ohio State is ranked. Aren't they ranked number 1 going into this?
Yeah, I believe they
yeah,
are.
They are?
and just going around the table real quick, who do you guys think he should pick as the starter?
I would actually go with JT Barrett. I think that JT Barrett has the intangibles, the skill set, and the talent to do it. Not to say Cardell hasn't, but Cardell's just not proven.
I go Cardell. I just think the physical element that'll win for you. It's like having Shaq when he was in his prime. It's like you just there's a certain physicality that you.
Shaq got
contend
lazy
with.
at times too.
He did. Well, Cardell can't do. He's huge.
Yeah, I would say JT. I just feel like he has more of a leadership ability right now. You
I
know?
agree.
I think he's a little bit more seasoned, and he can run the game a little bit better.
Fair enough.
Well, Urban Meyer, you are on the hot seat to make a decision. All right, our last hot topic is none other than the most fierce, strongest, scariest, not physically looking, but just scariest in general, woman on earth right now. Not Serena Williams, the one, the only, Miss Ronda Rousey. She obliterated another opponent. What was that
34
last weekend?
seconds,
In
right?
like 2.5 seconds or something ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
I blinked and the fight was over with. So, you know, obviously Rousey has just been continuously receiving positive feedback for her less than 30-second knockouts that she's been doing in the ring. And there's been a little feud going on with Floyd Mayweather and her that I guess started a couple months or several months ago when he claimed to not know who she was.
Right, yeah, it was on that was a while back, and then she got him back a little bit when she got the award.
That's
Yes.
At
Yeah.
the ESPYs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess my thing is, A, you know, what do you guys make of the situation? And B, what would it actually take to get the both of them in the ring to settle this once and for all?
Didn't you guys see that thing about the celebrity boxing, and she challenged him in celebrity boxing? This was like a few weeks ago. It was right. That might.
I don't know if that was actually...
That might have just been a gimmick.
Yeah, a
article.
gimmick, or it was actually the truth, but...
I mean, it is pretty interesting from a technical standpoint as fighters. Like, they're both. The reason they're both so good is because they're both complete technicians of what they do. Like, if you ask anybody, you know, our friend Daria, she's a fighter here. I asked her the other night at a party, you know, why is Rousey so good? Because I don't watch a lot of UFC, and I was like, is she stronger? Is she tougher? She's like, well, she's all that stuff, but she's just more technical. She's beautifully trained. She's perfect. Like, and nobody else is on her level. And I think the reason Floyd, he doesn't really take big hits, and he hasn't taken a lot of big hits in his career because he's very technical. He just outlasts his opponent with that skill set. He's fast.
It's pretty good
obviously.
defensively, too.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's not like a Mike Tyson. He doesn't just like knock guys out. So I think it's interesting, and you wonder if they were to actually fight, because that's the nature of their style. Would it actually be more of an interesting fight than we thought? We talked about this a few weeks ago. What would it take to get them to fight? Actually,
Guess you didn't watch that show.
I did. It was actually really good. It was. I enjoyed
Thanks
it.
for watching
I
when you're not here.
But what I did is I just want you guys to restate some of those wonderful things you said in that episode for our fans today.
That's all. I mean, what it would take to see them fight is I think something like a celebrity boxing match. I just don't think you would really, or money. It would take money. That was my answer originally. It would take enough money, and you could get them to fight, to sign the waiver, whatever it would be.
How much money would it take? Do you think?
They would both
You gotta
have
put
to
out
get
a figure.
paid. They'd like both have to get $200 million for the fight. Like
No, but that's not something for Floyd. He just got what, like 300 and something million for his fight against Pacquiao?
Yeah, but she's not gonna get that kind of money normally. I mean, maybe more. I don't know. I mean, a lot of money. He'd have to get enough money that knocking out a woman on camera.
I know. That's just not a good look.
It would be a
Go ahead.
joke. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, people are not going to take that seriously. It would be a joke. Floyd's not going to mess up his reputation by even trying to fight a female. Like,
May it mess up.
It's not gonna happen.
You mean further?
Further, because he already had a few domestic violence disputes, right?
Publicly.
Yeah.
Fight a woman.
Well, it's definitely interesting. We'll definitely see what happens. But in the meantime, Ronda, I mean, can we get a competitor for her? You know, someone that can stand more than a minute in the ring with her. That would be awesome. All right, those are hot topics. We're just going to end with a couple of questions here about intriguing things going on. And I'm actually going to hand it over to Ben and let you do this last part here. These questions, you know, things that are going on in the sports world that we continue to wonder whether they're controversial or not. So, no.
Just read the question.
Well, you know, the first question I'll ask you, and this is one that has to do with, I saw a headline on ESPN this morning about NASCAR. And I don't watch a lot of NASCAR. I'm not somebody who, I've watched a little bit, right? I probably have more experience in watching like Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby than I do watching actual NASCAR. But there was a question a few years ago, I think a premier athlete made a comment that was like, NASCAR drivers aren't athletes. And it's a conversation.
That's when
a
NASCAR driver won Athlete of the Year.
Right.
That's
what it was.
Yeah,
That's
that
what
was
it was.
very controversial, yeah.
And I just sort of thought about it again this morning. I didn't really get into that conversation when it happened. I thought it would just be an interesting thing to like sort of bring up for a minute. Somebody retired this morning, right? They announced their retirement. Somebody, Bud something.
Yeah, it could
Bud
possibly.
Smith, the guy, he's the one that hit the player, or hit the NASCAR driver and killed him.
Oh, the guy that hit the guy that was walking across. Yeah,
Yes.
That was unfortunate.
It was his own guy, right? It was his own team member?
No. It was another race car driver. Because, you know, Bud was known to be kind of like a shady driver a little bit.
Okay, sure.
And so
The driver was confronting him.
Yeah, the guy got out of the car while everyone's still on the track, and then he accidentally, hit the guy and killed him. So.
Gotcha. So I'm not sure if he announced his retirement. That might not have been correct. The question I just wanted to ask is, what's your guys' opinion on that? Do you think NASCAR drivers are athletes? What's the definition of an athlete? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, I'll say this. Have you ever seen an overweight, unhealthy NASCAR driver?
No, of course not.
Okay, every NASCAR...
They can't fit in the car.
Yeah.
Come on, Kevin.
I'm just saying, no, they can make custom-made cars for these people to fit in if they wanted to.
No,
all right?
absolutely not. The car is going to be heavier, and it's going to not go as fast, so they don't want a heavy driver. That's just like the horse riders.
Aerodynamics or something?
Oh, jockeys?
Jockeys, yeah. They have to be little because you want a light featherweight person on the horse, because the horse is going to go faster.
But if you're heavy, wouldn't that be more momentum for the car?
No, that's like. Did you not take like science or anything? Like,
I failed physics.
We
in
are
high
having
school.
a great conversation. What's your answer, Kevin?
No.
Athletes or no athletes?
My answer is this. It's simple. I mean, it takes a lot of mental intelligence to do it. I think it's more mentally draining than physically draining. But with any other sport, playing the quarterback position, that's extremely mental as well.
Yeah, but it's also physical.
It's physical as well. The bottom line is, I'll say this. Are they athletes or are they not? I wouldn't say, I wouldn't put them on an athletic caliber as, say, a NFL player or somebody of that. But I would still call them still deserve the right to be called.
I absolutely find this very, like, degrading almost in a sense, because people always say cheerleaders, being a cheerleader is not an athlete. Tons of people say that all the time. But you're going to call a race car driver an athlete?
Yeah, well,
Excuse me,
it's a competition. Cheerleading is not a competition until you have those nationals where you compete. So I think that's probably why they say it's not a sport. Because cheerleading day in and day out, you're just cheering for a team. It's not like a competitive match that's going on.
Cheerleading is very competitive.
Well, let me move on really quickly.
And you have to be an athlete to do it.
No, I agree. I'm not saying that's gymnastics, that's tumbling. I can't do that stuff.
Yeah,
I can be a stand.
So I'm just saying, on the worldly scale, for people to say that NASCAR driving is like being an athlete and a cheerleader is not, that doesn't make sense to me. If I can't call a cheerleader an athlete, a NASCAR driver sure as heck is not an athlete.
Brittany, I think we all agree cheerleaders are athletes.
So,
Go ahead.
I mean, I think that the definition of athlete is like somebody, it's a combination of physical exertion and then like mental sharpness, right? So would you...
Cheerleader.
Yeah. Would you, okay, but quick question. Would you consider a championship ping pong player, is that an athlete?
Hell yeah!
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's like...
You got to move back and forth.
Okay, yeah, you're fast, right?
Yeah.
You're fast and you're sharp.
Yes.
What about, I don't know...
Croquet?
Archery.
Yes.
What about archery? You're strong, you've got to hold, you've got to have
Yeah,
focus.
I did archery in PE.
My thing is this. If it
Physical
qualifies
activity.
as an Olympic sport, you're an athlete. Archery is an Olympic sport. And that still takes physicality
Right.
to pull it back and kind of like what is it, rifling, or what is it called?
Skeet shooting?
I don't know.
All right,
But at any rate,
let's move on.
One last question.
Last
So
question.
no, they're not athletes. in my opinion.
My opinion is that they are athletes, but
I drive
Yeah.
every day, so am I doing some physical activity? Am I doing
Okay,
some
are you
athletic
driving
work?
250
Okay.
miles an hour?
Yeah,
Kevin, we gotta wrap it up.
I
We-
would
we-
be if I didn't
Well,
live in
stay
Los
off the
Angeles.
road.
We
Go ahead,
gotta
Ben.
wrap it up. And all I'm gonna do is give you a yes or no question. The last question of the show: should NFL contracts be fully guaranteed? Yes or no?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Should NFL contracts be fully guaranteed? Yes or no?
Okay, no, but I think that they should get paid more.
My answer is yes. The contract should be structured in such a way that you can have it's a write-off. It's just if NBA contracts are fully guaranteed, NFL is twice as dangerous.
That's why it's not fully guaranteed.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're also asking people to put themselves in harm's way.
And they
get
have
paid,
a hard salary cap versus basketball has a soft salary
and you're
cap.
asking people to get paid less than they do in baseball or the NBA.
Right,
for
so I said they should get paid more, but it shouldn't be fully guaranteed because of the high injury rate and because a lot of football players tend to get in trouble. Compared to other
I think
sports.
NFL athletes should be paid fully guaranteed contracts because they're putting themselves completely in harm's way, and football as a business makes more money than any other sport by a long shot except for soccer.
Yeah, but you have like way more players than you do on a basketball or
That is very true.
Baseball
Brittany,
team.
we're so glad you brought your debate hat today because
Brittany,
Brittany
you
is
were
on
It's
fire
Friday,
today.
you know?
Brittany is on
Usually by
fire.
Friday,
so-
I'm tired. Not Monday.
Exactly, that is true. Well, guys, I hope that you definitely got some fire out of this today. Please keep the conversation going. I know we had some very intriguing questions, so please comment on us. I'm Kevin John. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyKevinJohn. Brittany?
I am Britt Johnson on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat, or you can check me out on my website, BrittanyJohnson.com.
You guys can find me at Ben Bateman Media, at Ben Bateman Media, on Twitter and Instagram.
There you have it. I'm Kevin. She's Brittany. He's Ben. And we make up your team of the Branded Athlete. We'll see you guys Friday.
6 p.m.
It's Friday 6. See you guys then.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.